Hey everyone, this is the Innovator's Mindset with Brittany Dixon. Oh, there we go. Brittany. Okay, so I actually just connected with Brittany. Her Instagram is instagram.com did I sound like an old man as soon as I said that? Did I go Instagram? Oh yeah, sorry. It is at
Sorry.
elementary_magic. And I saw Brittany posting just her excitement about teaching. And we were talking about this before. You teach science, and I really struggle with science. And I'm like, I kind of want to learn science from this person. that's how exciting you are as a teacher. So I just was so gravitated to your stuff. And I'm like, I would love to have you on my podcast, just hear some of the things that you're doing in your classroom. And we talked a little bit before, so I can't wait to get into this. But Brittany, if you could just kind of introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you do today, how you got there, I think it's a really great place to start.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm
Um,
honored.
my name is Brittany Dixon. I've been teaching for 11 years. I've taught third, fourth, and fifth grades. I always joke that I live in upper elementary land. That's my happy place in the
Yeah.
school. So I've taught all subject areas, but right now I am departmentalized. So I only teach math and science, and I absolutely love it.
Hmm.
I feel like I used to always say, fourth grade is the best. And now I'm like, oh, I don't know. Fifth grade math and science might give it a little run for its money. But yeah, so I started my Instagram, I think like 9 years ago, basically because I had a principal that told me to. She was like, you should share what you're doing and like learn from other people on Instagram. It's a good, put yourself out there, just do it. And so I did.
Yeah.
And if I go back to some of those first posts, they are so cringeworthy. Oh,
Right.
I'm like, but I leave them there because I do kind of like to go back and see my own journey as an educator. It's kind of like a little diary for my teaching journey, which has been quite the journey.
It's interesting that you say that. I told you that, like, I just published a book today, and I literally reference a old post that I wrote and how embarrassed I was of it because of my approach. And that was the start of the book. And the thing is, I wonder not only about what I write today, but what you post today. Will you in 10 years from now go like, I can't believe I posted that 10 years ago, right? Because that is like, it kind of exemplifies why you're such a great teacher, is that part of it is like you continuously grow, you continuously get better. And I
Mm-hmm.
love that you leave it up, even though you're like, I don't know what this one. So
Oh yeah.
that's a really great approach. When I was looking at your account, just your excitement for science is really amazing. And I said this to you before, and it's like almost you want to take me up on a bet. I'm like, there's nothing you could have done as a teacher that would have got me excited about science. But just kind of talking to you, I'm like, hey, maybe she's pretty passionate about it, and your enthusiasm for it is really wonderful. And I know a lot of teachers right now maybe struggle feeling like kids are not connected to this. What is something like, what do you, I don't want to say like, what is a formula for you, but like, what's your approach that you get kids really excited about, science and math? Like, what do you think is really important to that, to get kids excited? Because it doesn't matter how smart you are at it. And, I've had some very academic teachers who struggled to teach me because they were so smart in science that they couldn't understand why kids weren't. And where I'm sure you're very well versed in it, but you do have an enthusiasm. So what do you see as like really crucial for not just maybe science, but for any subject that you teach that get kids really interested in what you're doing?
Well, I think one thing that I have figured out across all subject areas really is that I have to be excited about what I'm
Mhm.
teaching. Like if I come in and I'm like, you guys, we're going to have so much fun today. I can't wait to do this. Like if I'm excited, they are excited. And I find myself still like, I'll be looking at lessons, for the next week. And I'm like, I don't want to teach that.
Yeah. Huh.
And I'll go back and I'll try and find something better. Like I was just teaching patterns, which, you know, at the lower levels, you can make patterns really fun, but then you get up into the
Yeah.
higher levels and you're like, how am I going to make this fun for the kids? So that's one thing I try to do is try to make it really fun for me as the teacher, because I know if I'm excited, they're more likely to be
Oh,
excited.
oh,
And then I say this is like the secret sauce to science. You've got to make it hands on. You have to let kids play and like figure things out. And now, if you were in Virginia, I would tell you to come to my classroom because I'm about to start my
yeah.
favorite unit, which is electricity. And I love it. because I literally I just give them a bag of supplies and I say, try and turn that light bulb on. And I do nothing else.
I love that.
And so I try to do lots of hands on stuff. And last year during the electricity unit, I had never made electromagnets. I had never done anything with electromagnets, but we did like this fundraiser. And so I had money to spend. And I was like, I'm going to buy these electromagnet kits. I don't know. I've never done this. I don't know how it's going to go, but let's spend this money on electromagnet kits. So I bought a bunch of kits and I told my principal, I'm like, hey, we're going to build electromagnets. I don't know how it's going to go. I've never done it before. Could be a disaster. Could be great. You should come. And he was like, okay. And so we did. We built them and it was amazing. I had literally didn't, I probably should have taken one out and like done a test run, but no, I was like, I told the kids, we're learning together. We're going to figure this out together. I've never done this before. And it was so fun and so amazing that I ordered more of those kits and we're doing it again.
I love that. You know, you just totally, I think that is one of the things that I really believe in is that if you are going to be a great teacher, you got to be a great learner. And you not just have to be that, you have to get the kids to see you doing that as well. And so if you're excited about that learning, they kind of feel way more compelled to do it as well. And actually, if you, and I really, I want to make sure that people get to see this. If you go on to Brittany's account, it's at, you don't have to say Instagram.com before, at elementary_magic. You see so many of these great lessons that you're doing, and it was really compelling. And, you know, one of the questions people are going to ask is like, hey, I do want to have fun. I do want to do these incredible things, but I am so bound by this curriculum that we have to have, or our school district makes this. And so I'm sure that there's certain things that you have to get done, right? But also you get to put your own twist on things, or you have some autonomy in the process of how you teach that. So where do you find that balance? Because I don't think you're just saying, no, don't worry about the curriculum this year. It is actually kind of figuring out how do I, you know, innovate within these constraints to make sure that I'm, you know, doing something I'm really excited about while still making sure I have to do the things that I have to do.
Right. So, you know, we plan as a team. So we always start with our standards, you know, what do we have to do? And then what can we pull out of there that we can do that's hands-on? Like, how can we make this a station, or how can we make this a lab day? And like, we just try to put as many things into the kids' hands as we can while we're still checking all those boxes and hitting all those standards and making sure that they're getting the vocabulary that they need while they're also building and making connections with their hands. Because, you know, when we look at those state tests and what we're supposed to prepare them for, especially with science, so many of those questions, they have to be able to apply what they've learned. And the best way for them to be able to apply what they've learned is to actually do it with their hands. And so that's why we try to do so much hands-on stuff. And I had a teacher that I worked with a couple years ago. She was like, she's the best science teacher. Actually, she is the one that I would say you should go to her class because she taught me a lot. But she was the one that was like, you know, we need hands-on at least once a week. We need stations at least once a week. These kids can't learn science by just sitting there and reading it. Like they need to be doing it. And so she was one of my big inspirations for getting kids and getting their hands on in science lessons.
You know, there's a time with you said something that kind of stuck out to me before, and it kind of shows your approach of this when you're just basically throwing stuff on you know, a table and saying, figure it out. And there was a time where I can't remember what we were doing, but my daughter said, Dad, can you help me with this? And it was something with technology, and I didn't know what it was. And so basically what I was going to do was get up, go on the computer and start pressing buttons. I'm like, no, you figure it out. She's like, what? I said, well, I'm going to do the same thing you're going to do. I'm just going to keep pushing buttons and figure it out. And so what I love about your approach, as much as I can tell you're a great teacher, the thing that is the most important about teaching is that you actually teach kids to be able to learn without you. And you're setting them up through that process that, hey, you know what? I can figure this stuff out. I can kind of go through that approach, because if you are, I always tell this when I first started teaching, my kids love me. You and I both taught grade 4. And I remember kids were like, oh, Mr. Cross, we just love that. It was my first year. I was so proud of it. And then the next year they would come back to my class. They're like, oh, Mr. Cross, our teacher is so boring. I'm like, why? And I was so proud because it's like, I was the cool teacher. And well, she's like making us do stuff. And, you know, we have to like figure out all these things on our own. And I was like, oh, that sounds horrible. And then I realized, oh, actually, they were so dependent on me being good
Mm,
that they never learned any, like they didn't learn how to learn. And so,
right.
I always distinguish this. There's a huge difference in, obviously I'm a speaker. Uh, there's a difference between a great speaker and a great teacher, right? Is
Mm,
that the way you communicate is different, and really how do you empower learners through that process? And, talking about empowering, one of the things that you said to me that really connects with me, and there's so many similarities in our career. One of the things that really changed for you was you had an amazing principal, and I had an amazing principal, and you can just, when you were talking about it, I just felt some parallels because I know my career would have never gone on the path that it did if it wasn't for that great principal. So can you tell me about her
mm.
and that impact that she had on you and why it has stuck with you so many years later?
Yes. So I had a really great principal my second year of teaching, and she just really encouraged us to get out of our comfort zones
Mm-hmm.
and just do things that we hadn't even tried before. There was one day she came to me and she was like, I'm gonna give you a 3D printer," and I was like, "Okay."
Right.
I had never used a 3D printer. I didn't know anything about 3D printing. She's like, "I'm gonna give you one of the ones. We're getting three for the school. You're getting one." I'm like, "Okay."
She electricity united you.
I,
So here's what she did
yes,
here. That's
yes.
amazing.
Yes. So, anyways, I ended up with this 3D printer and I didn't know how to use it, but I figured it out with the kids and we had a great time. But that's just like one example. There were so many times that I would go to her and I would be like, "Hey, I have this crazy idea. I want to do this room transformation and I want it to be carnival themed and I want to get a cotton candy machine." And she was like, "Okay, where are you gonna get one?" I was like, "I don't know, but can I do it?" And she was like, "Yes."
I love that.
And so, like, I would come to her with all these crazy ideas, and I don't know if she ever said no to me. I think she probably asked me questions to make sure that I was thinking about all the things that needed to be thought about before I did things like bring a cotton candy machine in the classroom.
Right.
She encouraged me to go to professional developments that I was interested in, and she helped me write a GoFundMe so that I could go to the Ron Clark Academy. And then there was another big conference that I got to go to. And so she just encouraged me to like get out of my comfort zone and try all these different things. And she really helped me grow as an educator. She gave me confidence that I desperately needed. I did not think that I was a great teacher at it. Like I wasn't even sure I was supposed to be teaching. And she just kept pushing me and kept pushing me. And when I left that school, I was devastated because she was amazing
Mm-hmm.
and she's still amazing. I still talk to her all the time. I actually just talked to her last week.
I love that.
So she went from like a principal to a friend to like a mentor and she's amazing.
When you're telling the story, there's this little question I ask teachers, and it's a test. It's a test on it. And it's not about the teacher as much as what I learned about their principal. And you kind of epitomize this when you shared it. Is I'll say like, "Hey, how's your principal?" Like, "Oh, they're great. They let me do whatever I want." And I'm like, "Is that good? Like, is that good?" Because
Right.
so there's balance of like you could tell what is your principal? Can I get her name? Can I get her name? Because I want to do something for her.
Yes. Yes. Dr. Tara Grant.
There you go. Little shout out button there for Dr. Tara Grant. So when I hear that, I truly believe a great principal will make you better. And it's not that you don't have autonomy. It's not that you can't explore those ideas. But even when you're saying like, she'll make sure that I think about certain things I had to think about. And you can tell that you grew and became better because of her mentorship. And if you don't actually grow your teachers, then my question is, why are you there? Right? What, like, if you're just getting out of the way, then that's really, we don't need that role. But if it is actually growing people that you serve and making them think differently and they become better because of you, that is what a great principal epitomizes. So I really loved how you described that because it basically just proved my theory about like, they just let me do whatever I want is not a great answer. It is, you're talking about that growth, that development. And again, you had tons of autonomy, you explored ideas. But Joe Sanfilippo, he's a good friend of mine. He says, when you go to a leader, they should get you more excited about an idea than when you walked in, right? Like you're more excited about it when you actually walk out. Now, this is my last question for you, and it is why I was drawn to your account. You just have a really great attitude towards education, and I think there's tons of issues in education. and I'm older. There's always been issues in education. They might be worse now. They could get better. They might get even worse. But I think how you show up every single day does impact a lot. And I was just drawn to your enthusiasm immediately, and I felt contagious about that. Even though you have, and you know this too, like you and I were talking about this. There's tons of issues in education. How do you really stay centered and focus on having enthusiasm for what you do every single day? Because you said one of the most important things for teaching kids is to be enthusiastic about what you teach, right? And so if you hate what you do every day, pretty hard to teach. So how do you take ownership over that and really kind of focus on all those great things you do? Understanding that you shared this with me as well. It's not like you don't have bad days, right? And so like how do you stay
Yeah.
grounded on that?
Well, the big thing for me is making sure that I'm teaching lessons that I'm having fun with, but also like connecting with the kids and making sure that I have really good relationships with them. And then also like as a mom now, it just kind of really changed a lot for
Mm,
me. I want to give kids these experiences that they're so excited about that they go home and talk to people in their family about. Like maybe they're talking about it around the dinner table, maybe they're talking about it in the car on the way to practice. But like I want kids to be excited about learning. I think that learning should be fun and teaching should be fun, and that's what I really try and put at the center of everything. Like I want my kids to want to come to my class. I want them to want to come to school. I want them to be excited about learning. And no, I can't make every single thing, as exciting as an
right,
electromagnet, but the things that I can make really exciting like that, I'm going all in. Like,
right.
this is crazy. This is completely off topic. I have to tell you this though.
Let's go.
So here we
Let's
go.
go.
We found a praying mantis outside of our school. Like, it was right before Thanksgiving break. Okay. We had already had a couple frosts. Now, if you don't know this about praying mantis, they usually die after the first frost, right? That's the end of their life. So we see this praying mantis on the side of our school. And we're like, wow, can't believe that praying mantis is sticking around. Come back the next day, it's still out there. And so then we come out like, it was like a week. And so I picked it up and I'm asking my co-lab teacher, I'm like, should we take it in? He's like, no, leave nature in nature. I'm like, all right, leave nature in nature. So then I go home and I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's supposed to snow. That praying mantis is going to die. Not on my watch. Nope. Mm-mm. So I go back the next day and I like dropped my stuff in my classroom and went straight to the playground and I found that praying mantis laying
Really?
on its side. It was laying on its side. I was like, oh, buddy, are you dead? I got taken it into my classroom. It starts warming up. It starts moving. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've saved this praying mantis. What am I going to do with it now? So the kids come in. They're like, did you get the praying mantis from outside? I'm like, yes. This thing turned into a whole thing. Okay. So then we go out to recess later. The kids are going out with Ziploc bags. They're trying to find crickets. They do find crickets. It is freezing, by the way. I don't know how this praying mantis hadn't died, and I don't know how these crickets hadn't died. Anyways, they find three crickets out at recess. We come back in, we feed the praying mantis. We get to watch her eat the crickets, which was crazy. Have you ever seen a praying mantis?
No.
Okay,
No,
whoa. It was the learning experience I did not plan for. So, anyways, now we have this praying mantis. This was Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, I think. Yeah. Anyways, I went. Did we have snow? Yeah. Anyways, we ended up having a bunch of snow days. I had to think about this. We had like 3 snow days. So I threw these 3 crickets in there. Then we were gone for a bunch of days because of the snow. And I'm like, oh gosh, I'm going to go back. This praying mantis is going to be dead in my classroom. Now I got to have to figure this out. Great. Go back in there. Nope. She's alive and
I
kicking.
love it.
So we now give her like a true terrarium. Like she's got a whole situation. And we kept her alive for about 2 weeks.
That's amazing.
And it turned in to this crazy learning experience. Like my kids were going to the library, coming back with books about praying mantis. One was telling me that he and his dad had researched all this information. They were learning all about praying mantis at home. Like not planned for, but I bet my kids will remember this many years from now.
Okay, so I'm listening to you. I'm gonna out myself. I'm like a very emotional guy. I almost started crying listening to you. I know this sounds weird because I was like, I would love my kids to be in your class. Like how
Oh,
like that there is no compliment you could get from me as high as what I just said to you. So
Oh, well,
seriously,
thank
and
you.
I'm sure you know, as a mom, you probably feel the same way. If you share that, that is something that is really meaningful to you. So
Yeah.
I just love your enthusiasm. I'm so glad we're connected. I do not think this will be the last time you're on my podcast. I hope not. I hope you're not too famous that you like forget about
I
this in
don't think
the
I will be.
future. So yeah, I think you will be. So just remember me when you become super famous. So everyone that's listening, I really encourage you to connect with Brittany at, you don't have to go to Instagram.com. You can just go at elementary_magic. And you are everything that's right in education. And I just love seeing
Oh,
stories like yours. So thank you so much. This is your break. You took time out of your day to spend time to share with me and my audience. So I am so grateful for that. And I just cannot wait to see more stuff that you do in your classroom. And I'm like getting my kids on your Instagram account too. Now that I know to work Instagram.
I love it. Well,
Right.
thank you so much. This has been a pleasure, and I really
Seriously, you're
appreciate
great.
you asking me to join you. This has been a great
Wow, geez,
conversation.
I think you just you bring in. I think your enthusiasm attracts so many people excited about education. So I really appreciate it too. And so kudos to you, and kudos to the principal that really empowered you too. So like, I'm glad it
Yeah.
happened because who knows? You know, I had a situation where if I didn't have a great principal, who knows where I'd be today. But thank you so much for Brittany being
Yeah.
on. Thank you everyone listening. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.